What is up, everybody? Welcome to another live Pin the Gas podcast. And you guys already know what time it is. This episode is sponsored by Bison. Look, Jacob's even got the hat on, right? So listen, is there track day junkies out there? I know there's plenty of them. Street riders, right? Anybody looking to get a leather suit, don't buy an off the rack suit. When you get a fully customized, tailored, measured, made just for you, any colors, I mean, any logos, you put anything on it. Well, not anything, but a lot of things. We'll keep it at that, right? You can get the chest protector, you can get the undersuit, you can even get the matching gloves. Listen, and you can use this discount code PINTOGAS 2024 and get 10% off everything at Bison: hats, t-shirts, sweatshirts, man, the whole nine. Even if you're a team and you want shirts done, hey, they can do that too. So go to bison.com, get all your merch and all your cool gear there, because trust me, once you meet them, listen, simply amazing people, some of the best in the business. So you hear it from everybody here. Jacob's agreeing. So what are you doing? Let's go, right? But listen, it's an honor to sit down. Finally got him nailed down, because he's been flying in the air at 10, 20, 30,000 feet, right? It's hard to, get him down here for a landing. But listen, he's here now. Jacob Arnett, bro, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Listen, it's an absolute honor, man. And as always, with all my guests, I want to know, how did you get into motorcycles from the very beginning?
Sure. So around beginning of 2019, my dad told me about a concept called a cafe racer. So the 1970s stripped down CB750. I found one of those for like $1,200, bought it, rode the heck out of it all summer long, did a lot of things that bike was not designed to be done for. So I had that, stripped it down a little bit, swapped out the headlight, put on some lower handlebars or clip-ons actually. And then I had that for a long time till I put a chain into a block. And now it's been sitting in pieces, and the engine is back in some tubs. It's those tubs back there is the engine. So it's in a lot of pieces right now. So it's on the list of things to do, but that's pretty much how I got started. My dad showed it to me, and then now my mom wishes I never got into motorcycles, but that's kind of how it goes.
As all mothers do, right?
Yeah. But yeah, so I did that, and then I sent a chain into the block, and then I ended up buying a bunch of motorcycles down in Florida. Got kicked out of school for doing that. And then
I got kicked out of school.
Yeah, I got kicked out of school for doing that. That's a whole other story.
That's awesome.
But yeah, started doing that, and then one of my buddies told me about track days, and started doing those, and started racing, and started a shop because I thought it would make me a lot of money to go race, and it ended up being a very big learning lesson. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. So nothing super crazy, but yeah.
Listen, once you get caught by the bug, that's it. It's the best drug in the world, two wheels,
Yep.
And you start on the street like I did. I mean, a lot of people do. Now we have the SFL Mini GP, the New York one, where you can actually take your kids there, right? I'm not sure if we had that growing up. At least I don't think we did when I was growing up, right? Back when Moses and the Ark and all that. No, I'm just playing. So yeah, man, street squidding out there doing shit on a motorcycle. Thank God we're still here and still alive, right? It will going back thinking about, you're like, I was just absolutely stupid, And being a parent now, if my son ever chose to ride, I would be just as nervous and wouldn't be able to sleep until I knew he was home safe, right? Like my mom always just say about me, even though I'm like, I got this, Mom. $150, 10 minutes later, down the interstate, I got this.
Yeah, my mom wanted me home one time. They had a curfew for me when I still lived in my parents' house. And I have an awesome relationship with my parents, and they laugh about this. So my mom said I needed to be home at midnight, normal midnight stuff. I was about, I think, 20 miles away, and I made the trip in like 9 minutes, door to door. And she was like, you better be home by this time. And I said, I'll be there. I was there. I was there. That was definitely interstate, wide open throttle, door to door, pretty much. And I'm like, that was, looking back, now I'm like, that was absolutely stupid. But at the time, I did not care, and I was there to prove a point. So, yeah.
Right, like your own little mini TT, timed event, right? I got 8 minutes. I got this,
Yeah. Yeah. Here at Indy, there's like a 465 loop, and guys will go out there and just run the loop for time. So that's entertaining.
Facts, right? Thank God we're still alive again. And listen, we got my man Andrew Davis up in the house. He says, "What's up, fellers? What is up, my man?" Do you know Andrew Jacob?
I have a bunch of online interactions with him, but I haven't actually met him personally. I've been meaning to like get down there to one of the races at like Talladega or something with him, but it just hasn't schedule just hasn't worked out yet. So,
well, I had the absolutely honor to meet him in Victoria in Atlanta. It was absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to get back down there and spend some time with him for sure. Good people. So yeah, highly recommend. If anybody's down there, man, listen, go say hi to Andrew Davis. And actually, Victoria is getting her pilot's license too. So I don't know if you see that on Instagram. She's actually up there.
Yeah, I thought I saw that up there. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I love it. And we got Emmanuel. He says, "What's up, guys? What is up, my man?"
Yeah, Manny's one of the guys who races with us. Our shop used to sponsor him, and then he's just like he still gets free dyno kits and stuff. But we're always working on his bike. But you need to get him on the podcast, so he's a pretty cool dude.
Hit me up, Emmanuel.
Yeah. He actually only started racing like a year or two ago, and now he's like already keeping up with me. But yeah, at first I brought him to the track, and then I was going faster than him, and now he's faster than me by about this much. So yeah, just a little bit. But
Jacob's like, now you got to find your own ride to the track.
Yeah, something like that. So.
I love it. But yeah, Emmanuel, seriously, hit me up on Messenger. But yeah, dude, it's but that's what I love about our sport, the commodity, and the love and the passion, right? Even like you said, he shows up, he's faster than you now, but it's still all love because you see where he started and where he's at now,
Yep. It is
even though he's that much better, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he is on 1000. I am on a 600. So yeah.
I love it. And look, we also got Andrew Gower up in the house. What is up? He says, "Here we go." So have you met Andrew?
I have. I met him last year at the Barber Grand Nationals. I will say this: I am faster than Gower because I passed him in the last race that we were at. His bike did break down, but that's not part of the point. Passing is passing.
You must finish to win, right? Yeah. So
listen. If you're not first, you're last. I wasn't first, but I did beat Gower, so I'm not complaining about that.
I love it. I have not had the opportunity to meet him, but one day I will for sure. Him and Chris Moran. He's a really cool guy too, man. Have you met him?
No, but I think we're friends on Facebook, and I've like seen him around. So I haven't. I don't think I've met him personally, but.
Yeah. All right. So listen, going from a street squid, doing the dumb shit we do, right? Getting into track days, and then you was like, you know what? I just want to go racing, and that transferred in you into getting on the track and racing. So how did the whole Arnett industry thing, and how did you become a motorcycle mechanic? Because I went to MMI in Phoenix.
Sure. So I guess we'll kind of back up here to the end of 2022. I bought a Ducati 848, had one of those. It was a full track bike. I rode it on the street for like a few times, but I did buy it because it was cheap. I found it for I think I bought it for like $4,000 or something like that. I'm like, this is a deal. It only had like 2,000 miles on it or something. I'm like, I don't care that it's a track bike. I'm buying this thing.
Facts.
I bought it, and I think a month later I did my first track day on it, and at the time, I was probably one of the faster guys in our friend group, like who rode street. And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty fast. Yeah. Got humbled within the first 5 minutes of being on track. And I think my first session, there was some kid on a green Ninja 400. We were down at NCM Raceway, and he lapped me like 3 times in 20 minutes. And I am like, this is ridiculous. Like, I don't know what's going on. So anyway, I did that. And then the last session of the second day, I ended up using too much front brake. The Brembos work. The tire did not. And ended up washing out at the turn after the chicane. So I guess it'd be turn 2 at NCM down the front straightaway. So I did that and then fixed the bike up, rode it on the street. After that, literally is like a month later, I ended up riding the bike to work because I had a title for it and stuff like that. I'm like, well, it's nice. Winter's coming. I'm going to go ride the bike. And I just put all my nice parts on it. Rode the bike, ended up sending it in some Ford Explorer, turned left in front of me, and I hit it like right at the firewall. Ended up losing my spleen. So I have a scar from like here to my waistband. So I don't have a spleen. So I got that removed for weight reduction so I can go faster. Is what I tell everybody.
I love it.
So,
I love it, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. Biological weight reduction, 10 out of 10. The most expensive mod I've ever done, about $70,000. That doesn't really help out that much. So I did that. And then, so I crashed my super slow Ducati and bought a faster Ducati. I bought 1199R after that with some of the insurance money and some of my savings that I had. Ended up doing a bunch of track days throughout 2021 with that. And then, as you're there, I met more people. And around the same time, too, what I was doing was I was flipping bikes. So I'd buy them off of Copart, fix them, sell them. And that's what was funding the track days. So I was doing a bunch of that stuff, like flipping bikes. And more people were like, hey, go racing. Like, you're at that point where you're like, hey, you should go racing. A few of my other buddies said, hey, we're getting a race license on Autobahn at the end of the year. So me and Tyler Hill, Matthew Boger, and Anthony Beeman, who I invited to show up here. So I don't know if they're here or not. I invited them up there. We all went up there, got our race licenses. And that's when I realized like the 1199 was not something I should race or try to race at all, because it is the absolute, like at the time, like I didn't have the money to do it. And, so many other bikes are faster, just wasn't a good platform to start on. Especially for the time and budget that I had. I'm like, it's not, I'll go buy something Japanese. So at the beginning of 2022, I bought a R6 and started racing with it. Around the same time too, I had enough people like, hey, can you do an oil change on my bike? Hey, can you change the chain? Hey, can you do a valve service? Hey, can you do this? Because I'd flipped so many wrecked bikes and everybody saw it on my Snapchat story, like, all the stuff I had going on. So it really just kind of like snowballed one after another. And I was talking to my boss at the car dealership I was at. I was like, hey, do you care if I have a few days off work to like, work on, because I got work piled up in my personal garage. And he was like, do you have enough work for a week? And I was like, honestly, yeah. And he goes, go do it. Like, go, like, quit working with me. Go do your thing, dude. You're going to do it sooner or later. Bite the bullet, go do it. So I started doing that. And pretty much from 22 to 23 was just racing and running a shop. So I actually didn't really have any type of formal training, but I never really went out of my way to do things that I didn't really necessarily have a firm grasp on. So, but eventually I did. So it was just kind of like one thing after another, like, hey, can you do a valve service on an R1? Nah, not really. Like, we'll just stick to oil changes. But eventually I was like, I did it on my bike. So I'm like, okay, well, we'll go do it on other people's stuff. And the goal is to always treat people right, no matter what. And, don't screw people over. Was kind of what we ended up doing. So the shop had its ups and downs, as running a business does. Learned a ton of lessons, met a ton of people. I wouldn't have traded anything for it. But the beginning of this year, we were basically running the numbers. We're like, what's going to be – it would have worked. I could have kept doing it, but it's like I either needed a ton of money to invest and to be a full-time dealership. That was like the next step. And I'm like, A, I don't really have the money. B, I don't really have the interest in doing parts and gear and new bikes and a shop. I'm like, we don't really have the space for it and we don't have the money for it. And even if we did, it wasn't like we were going to be like huge. because all of our competitors who are dealerships around the area, they all have, like, Dryer Motorsports is down the road. We buy a ton of parts from them. And Jonathan Schaff is actually who I buy my X15s through. So make sure you get yourself an X15 helmet. So anyway, long story short, it's like those guys they've been in business since 1920. They've had their building paid off since the 1930s, basically. So there's really, like, they don't have that overhead, and anywhere that I would have to go to, I would have to incur that expense. It's just not worth it. I ran the numbers. I'm like, this isn't what I want to do, especially talking with my wife, and the amount of time that it takes to run something. It just wasn't, like, worth it in the long, like, in the medium run, I guess you could say. It just wasn't worth it. And I knew if I started doing that, I wouldn't be able to race as much as I wanted to, which is what I really want to do. I just want to go race motorcycles. So that's kind of how all that stuff happened. And that's kind of where we're at. I still have a dyno. So I am doing dyno tuning still, just because it's something that I enjoy. And it's not something that's like, hey, can you fix this electrical issue on my 1999 Hayabusa that I did the wiring on myself, and I don't know why it doesn't start. I don't have to deal with stuff like that. So it's all modern fuel injected bikes. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So
yeah, it's like, man, I worked in a shop for years when I come out of MMI, and I kind of fell out of love with motorcycles because it was flat rate. It was bullshit I didn't want to work on. It was a headache. It was a 1983 Gull Ring. Find the electrical, exactly what you said. Dude, it takes 3 days to take this fucking thing apart and find it. And you're like, dude, you know what? I want to do it on the side and pick and choose on what I want to work on and the jobs that I want to do, and they're quick and they're easy. And, you look after everybody's bike and it makes them happy. Because I'm anal when it comes to my shit for sure.
Sure. Yep.
As you got to,
as any motorcycle mechanic should be.
I'm a torque wrench nut, straight up. Yeah, like 12 foot-pounds of torque, bitch.
Yep.
We're good. Yep.
That's the way to do it. So,
but listen, we got Andrew Gower. Andrew says it took a broken motor Honda, but he's right.
Yeah, that was definitely. I will say though, he did run faster than me last year though on a bike that was actually working for him. That's the
way it goes.
Hey, you're only as good as your last race. So.
Facts, right? 110%. And then we got Andrew Davis. He says, I believe everyone has a story of getting absolutely handled by a kid on a Ninja 400, and that's where the addiction starts.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So there's always some 18-year-old kid on a Ninja 400 just hauling. Yeah. It doesn't matter all the time.
No, it don't. I remember when I was in Phoenix, that's when I first got in the track days and stuff. And then when we got our race license, me and a couple of my buddies just to be with. And then I'm like, yeah, I'm going to kick y'all's ass. We go out there. And I was usually the first or the second one, me and my buddy Ruben. But there was this one guy, he was probably 6 years younger than me, but he was like 300 and something pounds. And this dude was fucking balling, son. And I was trying everything. I was like, I can't catch this guy for nothing. Right. That's when I had my first front end tuck and all that good stuff. But yeah, it's
what bikes were you on back then?
Man, I had a 1996 ZX6R.
Okay. 96 ZX6R.
Yeah. That thing was a rocket ship for what it was for a little 600.
Oh yeah. Wasn't that the first year with Ram Air?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or like, not.
It took over the ZX6E. Yeah.
Yep.
And then because I originally wanted a ZX7, and my dad was like, "No, I'll get you the ZX6R instead." And I'm like, "Let's go, right? Let's go." Well, say I in high school I had a job. I wanted a motorcycle, didn't want a car, right? I'm like, I don't care about a car. I just want a bike. So I saved up money because I was working. My dad said, look, you pull your grades up, you save up half the down payment. I mean, it was brand new out the door. It was like $6,000 back in the day, right? Yeah, so I saved up $2,000. My dad matched it with $2,000, so that was $4,000. So my payments on $2,000 wasn't shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's not bad.
And then, dude, I rode that originally. I put 120 something thousand miles on it for the rod went. Yeah, but again, I was anal. Like I changed my oil, dude, the whole nine. Steering stem bearings, dude. I mean, straight up every winter. brake fluid, the whole, I mean, just everything all the time. Valve adjustments. I mean, that's, if you keep them happy like that, they'll last a long time.
Yep.
Ended up getting a motor for it, and just trash the thing, really. Actually, I know a guy in Alexandria. He has it right now. I'm trying to get it back from him. So if you're listening to this, let me get my baby back, man. It was my first bike.
Yeah, definitely keep your first bike.
I did. Yeah, I don't. So the beautiful R6 in the background. Tell us about it.
So yeah, this is it's a 2017. I bought this one off of Robbie Ringalda. He actually does a ton of R6 stuff. He's out of Ohio. I actually bought both my R6s and my dyno off of him. I've given that man so much money, it's not even funny. But anyway, though, so at this point, though, the next bike I should buy, I should get a discount. The amount of bikes, return customer, I guess.
Facts.
But anyway, he has a ton of parts that are always on standby, super close. So I'm like, well, if I need a part, I text him, he pay him, and he sends it out. So he, I think he just bought a new shop too. So he's expanding into cars and boats and stuff. So I'm excited to see the next time it's out there. But no, it's pretty much bone stock, stock engine. No, haven't done any engine work to it. Full Öhlins. I've tuned the bike myself on our dyno. So it's thrown down 117 at the wheel. And pretty much other than that, it's got Brembo rotors, a lighter subframe, and just the race fairings. It's not there's nothing that special to it. And I told myself I wasn't going to do any engine work until I'm at least 1 second away from a podium on an expert level. So at least until I'm there, I'm not doing any engine work, just because it's not I can spend my time and money into other things, such as either the skill set or playing around with the suspension, which I've been doing a ton of. And actually, these guys here with the Firelap stuff, I upload the data to it, and it's like an AI data analysis software. So I'm able to tell the computer what suspension changes I make, and it knows where I go faster or where I go slower around the track, just because it changes the handling characteristics. You either get confident or less confident in it, and sometimes you just go faster because you're like, hey, the bike likes it. So I've been playing around suspension a lot at the go-kart tracks and at the local track in the last few race weekends I've been at, and basically the computer keeps learning stuff, and it's we've been going faster and faster and faster. So it's definitely been a worthwhile endeavor and program to learn and fully understand suspension and be able to what does this feel like? So when I'm at the track, I can hey, the bike feels funny. These are the things that we need to do to change it and fix it. So that's pretty much the goal for the season, is learning suspension and keeping the tire pressures the same pretty much at every session, which anybody who races or rides track should do. But definitely playing around suspension, figuring out stuff for the wet is kind of the goal with the bike. So
that's awesome. It's suspension's a whole science by itself.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, it's like you get lost in the matrix, go down the white rabbit hole for sure when it comes to suspension.
Yeah. And everyone has an opinion on it too. Yeah. And nobody is normally wrong about it either. You can go ask 3 suspension guys the same question, and you're going to get a different answer out of all of them. But if you try either one, you're probably going to go a little bit faster. There's truth to about anything they say, unless it's some, unless it's some amateur club racer and it's his first race weekend. That's the only time I wouldn't ever take advice from somebody.
Right. You'd be like, nah, I'm good, man. I'll figure it out. Right. I got YouTube now. I'll just YouTube this shit. Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of stuff you can find on YouTube, but definitely taking good notes, writing stuff down, that way you can always go back. You can always keep changing stuff. And it's kind of what it comes down to, is just making sure the bike's ready to go and you're not screwing around with stuff. So.
Absolutely it is, and it makes a world. That's the best thing you can do, is get your suspension set up, not full pipe header, not none of that bullshit, right?
Yeah,
get the suspension set up to the tires you're on.
Yep.
Okay. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, and your riding style too. Changing ride height, even just a few millimeters of fork up or down or the rear shock up or down completely changes, how the bike handles. Like most of the time, if you jack these bikes up, they'll go faster. But knowing how much and just keeping good notes. But yeah, it's very much something I wish I started doing a long time ago. But you learn things as you go through life.
You do, man, and they always come at the right time when you least expect
Yep.
it to.
Yep.
It's funny how life works that way in all aspects of it too, man. It's
Yep.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So did you sell the 1199R to purchase the R6?
No, so I sold, and I hate myself for doing this, but I sold the 1199 to invest into the business, and then it just didn't work out. So not in the way I wanted it to. I actually sold it to a guy out in Illinois, and then he sold it. So I'll track it down eventually, but it was a fun bike. So
yeah, I bet. Yeah. I've had my first Ducati was a 748, and then I had a 996, and then the 1098. Now I got an 848, and out of all of them, I wish I'd have never got rid of the 996.
Yep,
for sure. I mean, that like every time I open the garage, I was like, "Oh my god, I love you so much! Like you're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life."
Yeah, they definitely awesome style to them. That's for sure.
Iconic, right? Don't get me wrong, I love the 1098S, right? But do you really need 170 horsepower for a street bike?
Yes.
He said, "Yes, you do." I know.
Yes, you do.
Facts, right? And yeah, dude, you're so right. But it's like that's why I didn't understand when KTM was like, "Hey, we're just gonna stop making the 11, the 11, the 8RC, the 8CR, whatever, right?"
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Okay, and then but yet you got a Street Fighter with the same motor that makes 180 horsepower, and you just got handlebars like this and no front fang. It's the same bike.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think it just comes down to like what people on the street want.
Yeah.
Because everybody's swapping to like the MT FZ platform. There's a reason Yamaha discontinued these things except for racing. Like people just, the sales aren't there, and big corporations aren't going to put money into things that aren't going to make them money. They're going to put them into what people are buying. So
it's a fact.
It'll eventually come full circle. We'll get another R6 in like 30 years, but yeah,
you're right. It's like I go down to my local showroom floor and there's no crotch rockets in there, right?
Except for like leader bikes.
Yeah, maybe one or two, if that. It's not something that they keep on the showroom floor. It's I want to see the glory days come back. Who wouldn't love to see a brand new ZX7RR or YZF 750, right? Wouldn't that be a brand new GSXR 750? I mean, that they still race it in Moto America.
Yeah,
they hadn't revised that bike since what?
2011. It's the same bike since 2011. All the part numbers are the same. It's the same.
So but it's a great platform because they're winning on it, right?
Yeah. I mean, they're doing well on it. And it's still something Suzuki, like they still keep selling them. They've been selling for over 2011? Yeah, over a decade by now. So it's like, I mean, I don't like Suzuki's, but you can't fix perfection, I guess.
Yeah, right. And you know what I miss too is the colors. What happened, dude? They got such boring colors on bikes now. It's all the same bland bullshit. Back in the day, they had the pinks and the purples and all these eels and all these other colors. Now they're not
black,
that
gray.
good looking. Yeah, black, gray, or solid blue, or whatever it is. So, listen, man. Getting into track days, being an absolute legend that you are right now, right? And at your shop, Arnett Industries, you're just going to be doing dyno tunes and like simple oil changes and stuff like that.
No, so I'm actually keeping it to doing just dyno tuning. I'm probably going to start doing stuff again in late to mid July or early August. But pretty much my day job is working with Matt Carr and going to flight school. So those are pretty much my two priorities, except for my wife. Outside of that,
good answer.
Yeah,
good answer.
But that's pretty much it. So my goal is learn as much as I can about the airplane that I'm flying, and I'm working on getting my IFR rating, which is flying by instruments. So it's I figure if I can put a motorcycle in the same spot every time around a racetrack, I could probably do the same thing in an airplane. So
Yeah,
it's
I love it. I love it. So listen, before we talk about your flight and flying and all that, how did you and Matt Carr meet?
So I met him because I had a Ducati and I needed parts, and he's the only Ducati guy in town.
Right.
So I needed that, and then I just kept buying tires and parts from him, and pretty much was I kept doing business with him because I liked him. I liked him and his dad, the guy he had working for him, Ray Shaw. He would take care of it. He would take care of me every time I call up. He'd be like, "Hey, Jake," or he would say, "Hey, I'm super busy. I'll give you a call here later today." And he would actually call me back. Not that many people would. So they definitely had an insanely solid platform and a solid crew up there. So because he called me back when he said he's going to call me back, I kept working with him. And then right now I help him out at some of his track days that he has out here. And that's pretty much it. It's just doing that, working on stuff. And that's how I met him. Let me back up. That's how I met him, was just I kept doing business with him. So
that's awesome. I remember I think it was 08. They worked with Nicky Hayden. He had like a 1098 or something out there at Indy that they took him out there, and I was like, dude, I thought that was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
How awesome is that, right? But listen, before we get into flying, there's something I got to tell you guys. The Central Road Racing Association is a 54-year-old, completely voluntary run club that calls Brainerd International Raceway home. Moto America will be competing at Brainerd June 14th through the 16th, and the CRA and Moto America are actively seeking volunteers to help staff corners during the weekend. This is your chance to get the best seats in the house for some of the best motorcycle racing on the planet. Please reach out to the CRA through their Facebook page for more information, and they can help you get you set up, man. Listen, it is the best spot in the house, and without you guys there, guess what? There's no track days. There is no racing at all, right? So listen, guys, do me a favor. Facebook, CRA, sign up. You'll have a absolute ball. Plus, you'll meet a new family that you never thought you would meet, right? And it's simply amazing. But yeah, I had to throw that out there, Jacob, because we need those volunteers, dude, for sure.
Yep. If you don't have good corner workers and people who know what they're doing, which anybody who enjoys motorcycles will be an awesome corner worker, that's for sure. So
absolutely.
Speaking of Moto America, it's in the works. I might be racing an MT-09 in some of the rounds later this year, but we'll see. We'll see. If the schedule works out. And if the wife agrees, we're going racing. So we'll see.
I love that second part. If the wife agrees, yes, we can make it happen. I love it, dude.
Oh, yeah.
See, yes, dude. Yes. Good stuff, man. So listen, my dad was a fighter pilot. So I grew up in the Navy. I've been around jets. Dude, I've flown my whole life. Like, I feel safer in an airplane than I do riding a car on the street, because we got these now and everybody's Facebooking and Instagramming and putting on makeup and not paying attention what the fuck it is you're doing, people. Right. Yep. So, I feel my whole life, man. So I don't never get nervous. I mean, shit, I even jumped out of an airplane, right? I mean, so
done that once or twice.
That's amazing. That's how I come over my fear of heights. I was scared of heights, and I was like, jump out of an airplane.
Yeah.
So most extreme thing you can do. But listen, what made you interested in wanting to get your pilot license?
So my dad's been a pilot for. Obviously longer than I've been alive. He's been flying corporate he's actually been flying with Republic for the last 22 years, something like that. So he's been flying airplanes with them out of Indy. So it's kind of interesting. I never really because I got into motorcycles before I got into flying, like the visual speeds is just so much more. And like, I'm, kind of a cowboy, I guess you could say. So I like to, go out and have fun on a motorcycle when you're flying an airplane, there's really not it's just something that shouldn't be done. Going fast on a motorcycle on the street is something that shouldn't be done, but it's definitely there's a lot less, if you crash your motorcycle, it's really just you got to worry about. If you crash an airplane, It's just a lot more paperwork. It's a lot more paperwork. But no, it's so anyway, my dad bought an airplane. He was still a CFI. He never got rid of his CFI license. So he actually bought an airplane, taught me how to fly. And I got my license in a 1947 Stenson S108. So it's a tail dragger, high wing. You had to work the airplane to get it to fly straight. It didn't like to wander up, down, left, right. But it was a great learning tool. The newer airplane, I think the most complicated piece of machinery on the aircraft was a radio and the actual engine itself. It was all steam gauges, and my dad never let me do any type of planning or flying with a GPS. So he would actually have me do all my flight planning on paper, and he's like, "No, you're using paper charts and stuff like that." He goes, "When you're a pilot, you can use whatever you want. But while you're a student pilot, you're using paper." And I was like I get it, but it was annoying. But it's definitely something I think it's made me, because I did that and because I flew a tail dragger, which when you're on the ground, you're, sitting nose up, you can't see what's out in front of you. I think it's definitely made me a better pilot in the long run, especially some of the other aircraft that I've flown. It's so much easier. And especially because my dad's an airline pilot, he taught me a lot of standardization. He's like, "This is how you have a good scan of the instruments. This is how, this is what you make sure you're doing," because all airplanes have the same technique. They have the same, they handle different, but you still land in the same way pretty much. Whether it's, they all if there's a crosswind, that's how you fly the airplane every single time. So having somebody who was in the industry like that has made it so much easier for me now when I go fly these other airplanes that are modern with G1000s in them, which is the whole Garmin heads up display and stuff like that, and all these databases and stuff loaded into the airplane. Just makes it a lot oh, I already have this really good solid base knowledge from my dad, and now it's so much easier to apply to these other things, and I think it's really helped out. So I will be honest, flying isn't the most coolest, awesome thing I've ever done. That would be racing. So it's I would say it's ruined it for me, because it's not I went skydiving once and I was sitting there strapped up to some other guy waiting to go. And I'm sitting there the whole time. I'm like, when am I going to be nervous? I never got nervous going up, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, it's going to hit me. It's going to hit me. And I went skydiving with my fiance too. And I'm just waiting for I'm just waiting to be nervous, waiting for that, that feeling in your stomach. Never happened. And I'm like, this is and I never went back skydiving again, because I'm I didn't get that rush. I didn't get the rush. So I'm it's not, but yeah, so it's definitely interesting, because now that I'm going back to school, now that I'm older, I do have some experience under my belt with business people, relationships, the drive of, I've basically taken the drive of wanting to be the best person ever on one of these things and taken it to, okay, I want to be the best person at flying this airplane safely and legally and efficiently, and just being the best pilot I can be, and knowing, especially working on all sorts of different bikes. Now, when I go to an airplane and I'm looking at the engine, I'm like, okay, I know what a turbocharger does. I know what all of these things do. So now I have that base understanding of, if something goes wrong, I have a much more in-depth knowledge of how the things work inside the airplane.
Yeah.
So it's not just, okay, I pull the alternate air on the lever of this airplane. It takes air from somewhere else. I know how that entire system works. So if that thing's not working, I have another base knowledge of how to troubleshoot stuff like that. So it's definitely exciting to go back and try to be good at it, because before I was my dad's doing it, my dad's paying for everything. I got daddy's money for I didn't have to pay for any of my flight school, which is such a blessing too, because it's not, it's just building upon, what my great grandpa had set up for our family too. So definitely something that's kind of surreal at some point, but also really nice to have and exciting to go back. So now I'm like actually excited to fly airplanes. Whereas like before I was like, my dad's just making me do this, which was kind of that whole attitude. But now applying everything from running a business, racing, learning a lot more about myself and how I learn and what motivates me, and just wanting to be really good at what I'm doing, applies immediately to flight school. So now I'm, working on getting ahead in the program, and, now I do kind of like miss flying because I haven't flown an airplane in like 4 years. So that's, excited to get back in one here. I'm still like week 1 of flight school. So they haven't put me in an airplane yet, but it'll be good.
Yeah, it's good. That's awesome, man. And is that something you obviously gonna do in the future for like a future job? Is fly privately or?
So it's actually set up. So the flight school I'm going to is called Lyft, and it's owned by the same company that my dad works at. So I actually get like a really nice discount for going through it. And that discount goes away when I turn 26. So I'm like, well, I'm 25. It's kind of my last year. Let's go ahead, get it all done. So right now, if you complete the program, you have a guaranteed job at Republic. So that's kind of like the next thing is that should fund this crazy hobby and the family I'm starting too. So that's kind of those running all those numbers with running the shop and like, hey, what are my options in life? I'm getting married. I really can't screw around with like, blowing a bunch of money on a hobby. I need to make more money. Is basically kind of what it came down to. And that was, the driving factor, getting married, there's other life expenses, kids probably in the next 5 years, stuff like that. So it's just time to do the next thing is really what it was. And, but other than that, no, I'm excited to do it. I'll be flying right seat next to my dad again because it's at the same company. So that'll be nice, and it'll be really fun and cool. So.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. I remember my dad used to take me up flying in little Cessnas. We used to go to the airport and rent planes, and he'd take me up flying. And I'd be working the rotor and the pedals and all that. He'd let go. He'd be like, all right, take over. And I was like, holy shit, I don't want to do this. He's like, take over. And I'm like, all this. It was cool as shit, man. And I remember it was the first time I realized in a big commercial plane, you don't feel it. But in a smaller plane, when you go over a big lake or something, you actually drop because of the pressure and all that, right? Dude, that was fucking cool as hell, Dad. We got to turn around and do that again. So, yeah, that was one of my things. It was fun. And then one time he's like, you want to try to land? I was like, do you want to die? Are you ready to die? Because I'm all in, baby. Let's go. He's like, nah, I'll take it back. You crazy. Give me the controls.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely interesting. Like, when you're flying, you really got to be ahead of the airplane, or otherwise it just sets you up poorly for everything else. But it is something. It's like, yeah, I guess heat does rise, and yeah, I guess colder air is dense, and it's like,
right? You're like, it makes sense.
Yeah, and it's like at the time, like I didn't really understand, weight, temperature, or anything like that. But now I have like this insane knowledge from like racing of like tire temps. How friction works, how like before I never really had a good feel like over the aircraft just because like, I'd barely been flying. I was like 18. Like you don't have life experience at 18. I barely have it at 25.
Right.
But I've never really I always heard my buddies like who rode dirt bikes talk about like, yeah, you can, you can feel the engine, you can feel the load on it, you can feel, the tire, the front. I'm like, yeah. You guys are full of it. And then I started racing motorcycles. And I'm like, oh, I can feel like the back end slipping just a little bit. I can feel those like nuances. Whereas before, you just don't know unless you do it all the time. But now I've flown some other aircraft, and you're just a lot more like riding one of these at pace makes you far more in tune with a vehicle or a motor vehicle or anything like that than just driving to work in a car at 65 mile an hour down the interstate and going home. So it's definitely made me like far more aware of like, hey, we're moving up a little bit, we're moving down, or we're flying sideways, something like that. Whereas before, like my dad, no, more right rudder was the flight instructor thing. But now I'm able to like, I'm like, oh, it's just like natural because I can feel it. Whereas before I didn't really feel it. So, yeah.
That's awesome, man. Listen, dude, we're 45 minutes into this. Dude, it goes by so quick, man. It does. But listen, we still got so much to talk about. There's going to be part 2, 3, and 4, and 5, and all that with my friend Jacob coming up soon. But before we get off here, I got to get into my favorite part of the interview where we get to know Arnett on a personal level, not just the fast motorcycle racer or me trying to reach him at 35,000 feet. Say, hey, man, come on, man. We got a podcast. Let's go, right? All that good stuff. Let's go. Listen, I want to get into it, man. Let me ask you this. Who's your favorite comedian?
Shane Gillis.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Nice.
Definitely a breath of fresh air in the
comedian. Yeah. Facts, right? Yes.
Yeah.
If you guys don't know, go check him out because it's absolutely funny. What's your worst habit?
My wife will tell you not cleaning up after myself.
All wives will tell you that.
Yeah, my wife will tell you that. Probably, yeah, it's probably that, to be honest. It's like I'll just like wake up and be like, oh, it's time to go do the next thing, and then go do it and just like, leave breakfast on the counter, or like even when I'm working on stuff in the shop, I'll be like, oh, I need to go run and grab parts. And they'll go out and run and grab parts. And I'll be like, oh, I need to go home for the day because whatever's happening. And then I come back the next morning, the place is a mess because I'm working on stuff. And it's like, yeah, definitely.
Facts, right.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, and your wife is never wrong, too. I already told you.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, sure. That's awesome. Let me ask you this. Tell us something that we don't know about you at all.
Let's see. I already told you I'm a pilot. I already told you I don't have spleen. I already told you I race motorcycles. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's something.
Oh, there's always something.
Yeah, there's always something.
Always something. You could think about it. We'll come back to it.
Okay. Yeah, let's get back to that one.
Let me ask you this. If you could have if you can invite any 3 people to a track day, dead or alive, they could be road racers, movie stars, whoever they are, what 3 people are you bringing to a track day?
Valentino Rossi, naturally. Got to have him. Let's see. Rossi. Yeah, probably, honestly, Rossi. Who's one of the Dunlop guy who races the Isle of Man?
Michael, the legend.
Is it Michael? Yeah, Michael Dunlop. Yep, that'd be cool. Let's see. I'm trying to think of you just learned so much information from either one of those guys and like technique and skill set. And probably, who am I trying to think of? I can see him, but I can't remember the name.
What does he race? TT or?
No, it's one of the Moto America guys who used to do it for a while. No, it wasn't Moto America. What was it? No, the guy who races I saw a podcast, and it's the guy who races one of the Ducatis in British Superbike. That's where it was, because I watched that race that you told me to go watch. So I watched that, and I was like, wow, that was really cool. And then I went and started watching some of the stuff behind the scenes, with the team and whatnot. I'm blanking on the guy's
Glenn
name.
Irvin.
That's it. Yep. That would be cool. So
listen, you guys already know BSB is my favorite freaking series in the world. Not because they're better than Moto America. They're all amazing, but they have Cadwell Park and they race super bikes with no electronic aids. None. That is absolutely amazing. It's we need to bring that back.
Yeah.
For sure. So it's Glenn, dude, they're absolutely, and again, BennettSquareSuperbikes.com, people. I don't know why you guys keep slacking. It's free to watch. And listen, if you haven't watched that last race that Jacob was just talking about, a 2023, Tommy Birdwell and Glenn Irvin on the same team, PBM Ducati, right? Last race, half a point. Whoever wins takes home the trophy. It was simply the best race of the season last year.
Yep.
Hands down. So
I told I rewatched it again with one of my buddies who doesn't like road race. Like he's not like super into it. He was glued to the TV for the whole like 25 minutes. I was like, dude, you gotta watch this. This is like actually like wild. He was like the whole time. I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. So definitely solid racing.
I love it, man. BSB, let's go, right? Yeah. So listen, dude, if you had your own island, what's the one racetrack you'd have on your island?
Probably Coda, to be honest. I went there once. I played it on a bunch of video games. I feel like it has that nice balance of like super long straightaway with super nice flowy corners with a few like hard stops, right hand turns. Not super technical to just be like annoying like how Grattan is, but like definitely like it's definitely on the bucket list and may or may not be happening this year, but we'll see.
You guys heard it here first, right? Yeah. Of course, everybody knows what would be on my island is Cadwell Park, hands down. Yeah. 110%. So let me ask you this. Everybody knows that I like to read a lot of audiobooks. I don't read audiobooks. I said the same thing as I listen to audiobooks, right? So, and I just got done listening to The Ragged Edge by Stuart Baker's all about the Isle of Man TT, and I'm actually listening to his Valentino Rossi one right now. Is that something you do too as well? Do you listen to any audiobooks or read besides pilot's manuals and besides motorcycle shop manuals, right? We're going to get that one out the way.
Yeah. Pretty much. So I don't really listen to audiobooks mostly because there's not a good platform for them. And like, dude, I have like ADD or ADHD or something. Like I'll be sitting there driving and like audiobook or like podcast will be going on. And I'll like think about something else for like a solid 30 minutes. I'll be like, I gotta rewind this. Like, I don't know what's happening. I actually listen to a lot of like true crime stuff. There's a lot of really bad people out there.
Facts.
But it's interesting. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, you're always pretty much going to get caught. You're never going to get away with anything. No. So it's interesting to see stuff like that, and you know, it's like I guess it's kind of morbid, but it's like it's always like cool. I guess or not cool. Cool's not the right word. It's always intriguing how you know things happen, and it's also like it's probably also made me a little bit more aware of like you know people's like social cues, like hey, you know certain people act like certain people who do those things act a certain way. A lot of people are pretty normal, but it's just you know, yeah, it's interesting.
It is absolutely it is. And Deshaun, the author is Stuart Barker, Barker. And I listen to him on Apple Books. I go on Apple Books. Yeah, dude, I got listen, they got John McGinnis, Michael Dunlop, dude, all Guy Martins, dude, the list goes on and on and on, right? But the best motorcycle book that I've listened to is John Hopkins' Leather. It is absolutely the best motorcycle racing autobiography I've ever listened to, not read. He leaves it, dude. He tells it all. Jacob, to the point where he's like, I'd go in the bathroom and smoke weed and race my MotoGP bike. And I was like, dude, get the fuck out of here. Like, dude, this is awesome. Like, right? Because he puts it out there. You won't read. John McGinnis is not going to come on there and be like, I drank 4 pints and hit the bowl a couple times, went out there and rode the TT. And if he did, he damn sure ain't going to say it on the book.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
so, that's dude. So check it out. And actually, there is a unique fact about you that Neely says you was born.
Oh, my mom. Hi, mom.
Hi, mom.
It's Nelly, by the way.
Nelly. Sorry, dude. I'm not the best pronouncer when it comes to names. I get it too. On my last name, they're like, yeah, they call me all kinds of shit. But I've been called worse, so I'm good with it. Music, Jacob. What kind of music do you listen to?
It depends. It's a mix of everything. Country, pop, rap, like funk stuff. I don't know. It really just depends. You know, sometimes I'll be in the shop by myself and we're turning up some white girl music. Like sometimes that's just the vibe.
I love it. White girl music.
It depends what the vibe is really what it is.
It is. So let me
Yeah.
ask you this. What song is on your phone right now? If you pulled up your music and you hit the play button, what's in it?
Let's see. I think
I'll
it's
do mine too.
yeah, I'm curious now.
Mine's Sticks and Stones, Joyner Lucas.
Hold up. Spotify will tell me my most played real quick. That's not it. Recently played. That's not it. Hold up. It is, if it'll like show me. Yeah. On repeat. Here it is. Let's see. We have Austin. We have a bar song. We got Porch Light, Too Sweet, and then Fortunate Son. So those are like the top 5 or 6 right now.
I love it.
Oh, and then Paranoid. That's the other one. So there's kind of a wide range of what we're going on. I will say though, the hype song for the track every morning religiously at the racetrack. Kickstart My Heart, Motley Crue, bro. That is the alarm at the racetrack every single time. So that definitely gets me in the zone.
I love it, dude. I love it, dude. I love it. So, dude, I ask everybody this. You're either a fan or you're not, Star Wars or Star Trek?
So I've never really seen any Star Trek stuff. So it would probably have to be Star Wars.
What character would Jacob be? Yeah. Well, what character would you be?
Probably Han Solo.
Han Solo, I like it. So let me ask you this, Mr. Solo. In the cantina, did you shoot first or did the Guido shoot first?
Oh, I definitely shot first. No questions asked.
Facts,
shoot dude. First, ask questions.
That's right. Dead men tell no lies. Let's go. I love it, dude. So listen, are you a gun enthusiast? Do you have guns and stuff like go shoot? Yeah, me too. Yeah, we're a big, huge gun family. Let me ask you this: favorite foods, right? I know that's a broad question. Let me just ask you this. I'll give you 3 to choose from. But before I say that, are you a pineapple on pizza guy?
Yeah.
Me too. Me too. Yes. All right. So listen, Mexican, Italian, or Thai? Which one's your favorite?
Mexican.
I got you. Yeah. Do you like hot and spicy food?
Yeah, it depends what it is. I don't like hot and spicy as like peppers, but I like the other hot and spicy type of stuff. Like I don't know what it's called, or like the sauces, but I'm not a fan of like actual peppers.
Okay, I got you. So do you ever watch the hot ones on YouTube?
No. I've heard of it. That's where they have like celebrities come on. Like try this. I've seen like clips of it, but I haven't I'm not like super into it. But
yeah, it's great. I love it. That's something I want to do. Like actually with one of my guests one time that obviously I have a pre-chat, be like, dude, I love spicy food. I've been look, let's do it. Right. We'll do like just a couple wings hot and bang them out while we talk and our shit's on fire and we can't drooling on ourselves. Yeah.
Yep. Where are you based out of again?
Roanoke, Virginia.
Virginia?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so Indy, every year I went to Indy, it was I think it was like a little bit over an 8-hour drive if I drove straight through.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So it's not that bad of a drive. Shit, I just did that going to Road America I drove to West Virginia and then it was over 9 hours to get to Wisconsin.
Jeez. Yeah. Yeah, it's a drive up there, that's for sure.
It is, absolutely. But it's worth it, man, to get to hang out with all my beautiful circus friends. Yeah, absolutely. So let me ask you this. Who's your favorite road racer?
Right now, probably the person who I follow the closest would actually probably be Nolan Lampkin. So, local guy. So he's super.
Nolan.
Okay. Yeah.
I had him on my podcast.
Yeah. Super awesome, dude.
Amazing.
It's a toss up between him and Max Van. So that's
amazing.
That's it right there. So
2 of my friends, and dude, that's the one question I get asked the most out of people, whether it's mostly it's on Facebook Messenger, usually after a podcast, to be like, who is your favorite racer? Right? Like I'm gonna say something different. It's all my friends that road race, whether you're in Australian Superbike, you're in British Superbikes, you're in Moto America, you're in World Super Sport, you race the TT, you race the Northern 100, the Macau. Every one of my friends, personal friends that race, every single one of them is my favorite. Down from Junior Cup to wherever. So that's my answer. And I say it all the time because it's emotionally involved in it. And
Sure.
I would rather buy your t-shirt and your hat rather than Pedro Acosta or, Johnny
Sure.
Ray or
Yeah.
somebody like that. So yeah, absolutely. So I ask everybody this: who's your celebrity crush?
We'll have to delete this part so my wife doesn't see it, but probably. I'm joking now. My wife's insanely cool, so I can't think. She's really awesome. So
That's awesome.
yeah, can't complain. But yeah,
Nope. Good stuff. Mine's Salma Hayek.
who's that?
That she played in she played in a bunch of movies. She's a Latino mixed. She Brain Fart played it, dude, a bunch of movies. You guys help me out that's listening. I can't believe I can't think of a movie right. It was a vampire movie that she was in. Man, I have to come back to that. She played in a bunch of movies. She's an older actress now. She's I can't remember. Look her up, Salma Hayek. All you guys know who she is. Yeah. Dust Till Dawn. She played in that.
Yeah, that's
Desperado. Yeah.
That's
old
school. Like it was before my time. So
it was. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Not giving away my age or anything, but yeah. I'm 40, so
sure.
yeah, it wasn't before my time, but yeah, she's her. And of course everybody says Jennifer Aniston, who she's absolutely gorgeous for being, she's like 50 something now, but yeah.
Something like that.
So let me ask you this, Jacob. What advice would you give your younger self?
Start racing at 4. start racing about 20 years ago.
Facts.
So that's something I wish I did, but at the time I just didn't know anything, and my parents weren't going to put me in anything because I was honestly a little shit, so they weren't going to sign me up for anything.
I love that it, man.
Yeah, definitely wish I started sooner, or like started doing some sports, so that I could have better hand-eye coordination. But now it's it's what it is. So yeah, can't complain.
No, you can't. You can't. And listen, what Netflix series are you and your wife binge watching right now? What do you recommend to people out there listening?
Sure. So I've only been married for 3 weeks. The first week was at a honeymoon. The second week was getting all our stuff moved in. And the last week I've been at flight school from 8 a.m. until 8 p.m. So I really haven't had time to sit down and watch anything. But I have been watching a TV show called Tires on Netflix, and Shane Gillis is in it. Not a show I would recommend you watch with your parents. But after running a shop, I feel for after running a shop and being around types of people like that, it's so funny. So funny.
I'm gonna have to check it out. Yeah, I might have to.
Yeah,
have to check that out for
Tires
sure.
on Netflix. It's definitely if you've ever been in a shop ever, it's there's some old guy who every time he uses the computer, he's just I
call them the peckers, or because they're yeah, exactly, the peckers. Yeah. Look at them over there pecking again.
Yeah. So knowing other people in other shops, I'm I've sent it to a bunch of my buddies, and they're just they're either diesel techs or something like that. They're this is so it's funny because it's true. Is basically So
I love it.
I
love it. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. So me and my son, we're watching the Acolyte, the new Star Wars series. They just released 2 episodes. Yeah, we're big into Star Wars. So that's currently what me and him. But what I do recommend, because you love to fly and you love planes, dude, is on Apple TV. It was, oh man, brain fart again. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Man, I just talked about this the other day. You know what? I'm gonna look it up right now. But while I'm looking it up, let me ask you this. Are you into any other sports at all, like football, baseball? You watch anything like that?
I'll sit down and enjoy them, but I'm not into them like I am, motorcycling. If it's on TV, or I'll watch it, but I'm not to be honest, I really don't follow any other sports. I really don't follow any other types of racing except for F1. That's literally it. It's funny being a motorcycle guy, running a motorcycle shop. People be like, "Oh, have you watched the MotoGP race?" I'm like, "No, I watched F1." It's so wild. I don't even my wife and I will watch F1, but we're don't. And some of it is it really has to do with the Netflix show. And we're like, hey, we know these people. Where I feel like we know these people. We're invested into them. So we're excited to see that. Whereas like MotoGP, you just don't. I just don't know anybody. You don't follow any of that stuff, so we're not like into it.
Yeah.
Which that's really about the only race program that I follow. So
F1. So Lando Norris is my dude in F1.
Okay, yeah,
I like Lando.
He's been kicking ass. McLaren's turned their got
They're doing good. Yeah. Him and Daniel Ricciardo, he was always one of my favorites too.
Yeah.
But
have you seen the race results yet?
No, I have not.
Okay, I was about to go look them up, but I will after the show.
Yeah, Masters of the Air. That's what it's called. Apple TV. Yeah. Dude, really, really good, bro. Like even my son was like, "Daddy, you got to restart this." So he actually watched the whole series with me, and he's 11, and he was like, "Dude, this is the best thing ever."
Sure.
And another one I recommend to people, dude, it's fucking absolutely amazing, is Ted Lasso. It's on Apple TV too.
Oh, yeah, I've seen clips of the show.
Yes, dude, you'll laugh your ass off. It's absolutely a excellent show. I mean, it's one of those shows you're like, shit, I would watch it all over again, right?
Yep.
One of them. So let me ask you this then. PlayStation or Xbox?
Xbox. I still have my Xbox One from like 6-7 years ago now. Yeah. I had the first generation Xbox. I wasn't allowed to play video games growing up. Here's the thing that I haven't told you guys. I wasn't actually allowed to watch Star Wars or play video games growing up. So I never did that till I turned like 18. So that was never played video games. All my buddies had them. Wasn't allowed to play them. Now that I'm old and have an adult money, I still don't play them because I don't have time. So I do actually do a lot of sim racing too. Or I used to, then I got married. So we know how that goes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's definitely something though. Like even sim racing cars has definitely made me like a better motorcycle racer because it trains that racing mentality, where to look, and especially having a force feedback steering wheel, you can you're able to feel what the car is doing in a video game, and then it's definitely made me faster going around a racetrack too. And it definitely is like, helps me stay calmer too, because like in a video game, we're just spinning laps. And then in real life, we're just spinning laps. We know where we want to look. We know what we want to do. We know we want to hit the throttle here. We know we want to hit the brakes there. We know where our release points are at. And I'll go practice tracks in the video game that I race on the motorcycles, even though it's nowhere near the same. It gets that mental speed it gets the mental state up to speed a little bit faster, I guess you could say, than even though it's like the braking spots and the throttle zones are nowhere near the same. It's definitely helps me. It's definitely helped me like get that mental state there. So
I love it. I love it. And listen, last question before we get into all our shouts outs and all that good stuff. If you could have one superpower, what superpower would you have?
I would probably take the infinite money glitch that Batman and Iron Man have. So that's where I think it would be, and I know exactly where all that money would go.
I love it. He said the infinite money glitch. That's the first time I heard that one. I love it, dude. Good stuff, man. Listen, this has been an absolute blast, an absolute honor. Jacob, before I give all my shout outs, let everybody know where they can find you on social media, where they can come to the track and support you, and where they can come and get their bike dynoed at.
Sure. So we are here in Indianapolis. If you want your bike dynoed, hit me up. I still have probably hit me up on Snapchat or Facebook or Instagram. I took my phone number down off the internet just because I was getting a lot of phone calls, and it was a lot of the same, hey, I'm not doing work right now. So hit me up on there. I'll probably be booking people here later this year. Come out to the track, start racing motorcycles, do one track day, get bumped out a novice, go racing. You'll probably you will crash at some point, but that is part of the process, and that is okay. Definitely start going racing. I will have to shout out these guys here, Fire Laps guys, super awesome people. I've been working with them here for a while, helping develop some of their program. Mint Detail, local detail shop. They keep this bike in tip-top shape. I have carbon ceramic brake rotors or pads. So much brake dust. Not even there when I send it to them. So it's awesome. Bison, as always, and then Dryer Motorsports. And Carmoto's actually on there too. So he's been really Matt Carr's actually been a wealth of knowledge and information with, how to go faster, helping out with suspension stuff. And then Chef Seats on there as well. We got another 7 horsepower just by putting his sticker on. So go watch that video. It's out there somewhere. And then, just driven in Vortex. So they're keeping the, power from the engine to the wheels. So
I love it. Good stuff, man. And listen, I'm going to send you some Pin to Gas pod stacks, podcast stickers. That's going to be worth 20 horsepower to add, right? So
20 horsepower. All right.
Add 20 HP, baby. Yeah, let's go. We'll see. Yeah, put it back on the dyno. Let's test it. But listen, guys, like he already said it, Bison, track day junkies, street riders, even if you don't want a full suit, you can just get you a custom leather jacket. Listen, best in the business. Bison.com, Pin to Gas 2024, 10% off. I don't know what you're waiting on. Big shout out to R&D Racing, my man Jake Marsh out there in BSB. He has a Club 45. Please show him all the love. He's an up-and-coming legend of the sport. Sign up for his club. Absolutely amazing kid. Also, big shout out to Jillian Carrera. He has a Club 40, but you guys were too late because it's completely full right now. American that's absolutely killing it in the British Talent Cup. Please go watch it, cheer it. Same thing with SFL Mini GP in South Florida. If you're 50, 60, 70 years old, you ever wanted to drag your knee, go to SFL Mini. If you have a child that's 2, 3, or 4 and you want to get them on a bike, SFL Mini GP. It's no bullshit, no excuses. Leave all that at the door. All you got to do is register, sign up, show up. You can rent bikes. They got leathers, boots, the whole 9. All you do is show up with this. You'll get on the track full kitted out, right? And you'll have the most fun of your life. Like he said, big shout out to Chef Eats. I don't know what you guys are eating at the track, but if you don't have Chef Eats, you're not eating right. Right? Jacob, tell him, man. Yeah, for real. Yeah. Chef Eats, baby. So
diet is half of the battle. Diet is 90% of my battle.
Mine too, man. Absolutely. And then Vetu Track, man. If there's any of my Marine friends and military friends out there that want to get into motorcycles, that wants to be part of one of the best program too on the planet, Vet2 Track. My buddy Jim Whitman runs it. So look him up. Send him an email. I actually got some brochures he's sending me in the mail so I can take them down because my wife works at the VA. So I'm going to take some down there to the VA and put it out. My wife will spread them out and hopefully, get some people over there to listen, be part of a group and be happy with your surroundings. You have the best time, especially, being next to race bikes, something you probably never done before, right? And then you get to learn the sport. And the next thing you know, you're like, hey, I want to ride, right? And next thing you know, it's whatever mentally you're battling for, you forget all about it because you're having so much fun. Like you were 3, 4, 5, or 6 again, right? Watching Transformers, Autobots roll out, same thing. So I don't know what you're waiting on. One last thing before I get off here. Listen, I got this product. I've had it since Road America. I met this guy. His name's Grant. He runs Flying Eyes Optics. There's these sunglasses. Okay. They are the lightest sunglasses I've ever had. Dude, if I didn't believe in this, I would not be having this conversation. And no, I'm not getting paid to say this. But these right here, I did get these for free, though. But these right here, look at the arms. So, Jacob, I know at one point in your life you wear sunglasses up underneath your helmet, right? Correct? And when you do that, after a while, it puts pressure on your head and you're getting headaches and all this shit, right? Yep. These sunglasses, they're so light, they're so clear, they're made to fit up underneath your helmet, whether you wear a half dome, full face. I recommend a full face, but whatever helmet you put on, right? Listen, the optics, I put it to you like this, Jacob. I got a shit ton of Oakleys right here. I mean, I just got like 15 pair of Oakleys, right? And Costas. And I'm going to tell you right now, they are so light. There's times that I actually forget that I'm even wearing sunglasses. No bullshit. And but you guys can go to flyingoptics.com, use the discount code PINTOGAS10 and get 10% off. And they actually have a lifetime warranty if you sign up. If you misplace them or whatever, you just pay for shipping and boom, there you go. So it's very nice. But listen, thank everybody that watched this episode. And if you had not yet, please go like and subscribe on my YouTube and all my platforms. I'm everywhere but Apple, Podbean, iHeart, Spotify, which this episode will be out on all those formats too as well. So, Jacob, absolute honor, my man. Appreciate you coming on here. I had an absolute blast. Yes, we're definitely going to do this again, and I can't wait. So listen, guys, thank you guys so much. You will see me. I got some more coming up this week, but Jacob, my man, this is awesome. Yeah. Just stay on just 1 second. Hang on. All right.